All right, so today we're going to be diving into something pretty massive, and that is the potential impact of AI on the global economy.
Sounds ambitious.
It is. McKinsey is predicting that it could add a whopping $13.6 to $22.1 trillion
Wow.
annually to the global economy. And guess what?
What?
We're zeroing in on New York City's role in all of this.
Yeah, New York is really becoming like the leader in this applied AI. So using AI to tackle real problems in all sorts of different industries. And it's not just theoretical, it's happening right now.
So what are some examples of that though? I mean, like, how's that actually happening?
Yeah, so I mean, you hear about all these AI startups, and in New York they're already helping, they're helping lawyers go through mountains of legal documents, or fashion designers reduce waste. Even banks, banks using it to better provide microloans to small businesses.
Wow. So, I mean, like, what is it about New York that makes it so uniquely positioned to kind of be leading the way on this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, it's more than just the tech talent, right? I mean, you've got the financial markets, the world's leading financial markets are there. The workforce is super diverse, highly educated, and you've got all these industries that are ready to innovate. Yeah. I mean, it's like the perfect storm, for AI adoption.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's break down this ecosystem, this AI ecosystem that we're talking about in New York. What are we looking at here? So we're talking over 2,000 AI startups, 35 of them unicorns, and a whopping $21.4 billion in VC funding over the past few years. I mean, is this just hype, or is there something really substantial happening here?
No, I mean, this isn't happening by chance, right? It's driven by market demand. Companies all across industries, you name it, finance, healthcare, advertising, real estate, they're seeing the potential of AI to solve their problems and increase productivity.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. But how do you see this impacting jobs? Because I think that's something that a lot of our listeners are probably thinking about. Will AI take away our jobs?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the data shows that some jobs will be displaced,
right,
but many more will be augmented. And that means, AI is going to be helping people do their jobs better and faster.
So it's not necessarily a case of robots replacing humans, but rather humans and AI working together.
That's right.
In a way.
Yeah, it's a collaboration.
Interesting.
I mean, Goldman Sachs, for example, they're predicting that AI could boost global productivity by 7% each year.
7%?
For a decade.
A decade. That's massive.
Yeah, imagine what that could mean for output, wages, and just general efficiency.
Yeah. But with that being said, how is New York City preparing its workforce for all this change?
Yeah, so New York's not just sitting back, right? They're really trying to shape the future of AI. They're investing in research and education. So you've got the Data Science Institute at Columbia University, the Empire AI Supercomputing Hub. I mean, they're laying the groundwork for a future where, AI is in every part of the city's life.
So they're not just kind of waiting to see what happens. They're actually taking a proactive approach to making sure that they're ready.
Yeah, they're trying to stay ahead of the curve. I mean, and, these initiatives, they're also attracting talent and investment, so it's this virtuous cycle.
That's a great point. Yeah. So it's not just benefiting people who live in New York. It's bringing more people into New York who are interested in this.
Exactly.
But let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Yeah.
I mean, are there concerns, about potential downsides to AI?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, we can't just think about the good stuff.
Right.
Right. We have to think about the potential pitfalls, privacy, bias, even the environmental impact. All those things need to be addressed.
So how is New York City approaching these issues, these potential downsides?
So New York is really trying to be proactive.
Okay.
In terms of responsible AI development. They've got the Mayor's AI Action Plan, organizations like the AI Now Institute. I mean, there's a strong focus on using AI ethically and, to benefit everybody.
So they're trying to find that balance between, fostering innovation and making sure that it's done, responsibly.
Right, exactly.
But what does all this mean for our listeners? I mean, are there things that they can be doing right now to prepare themselves for this new AI world that we're stepping into?
Totally. I mean, are you a student? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you working in, healthcare or finance? New York has programs, resources to help you prepare and thrive,
So they're trying to make sure that everybody's kind of on board with this.
Yeah, and your participation really matters, right? I mean, this is the beginning, We need everyone's voices, to shape AI responsibly.
That's a great point. I like that. So this isn't just something happening to us. This is something we can all be a part of shaping.
Absolutely.
I like that. Okay, so I'm curious. The report that we've been talking about, it kind of focuses on the economic potential of AI.
Yeah.
But are there other industries in New York that could be disrupted, could be innovated thanks to AI?
Oh, yeah. That's a great question. I mean, it shows just how much potential there is, We're talking industries that might not immediately come to mind, like urban planning or transportation or even the arts. The applications are really limitless, and New York is the perfect place to explore those.
I mean, those are some really fascinating ideas. So to our listeners, what industries do you think are ripe for this kind of disruption? Share your ideas.
Yeah, we want to hear from you.
Because this is just the beginning of the conversation. But first, let's take a closer look at some of the specific companies that are actually making waves in this New York AI scene.
Okay.
What are some of those?
Yeah. So there's a company called AlphaSense, and they're really changing the game for financial professionals. They've built this market intelligence platform that uses AI to help analysts find the information they need.
Okay.
Super fast.
So instead of them like scrolling through endless documents,
Yeah.
the AI is kind of like doing the heavy lifting there.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, their AI is so sophisticated, it can summarize complex financial documents.
Are they?
So analysts can get insights instantly. It's a game changer.
So it's kind of like having an AI research assistant almost.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about companies that aren't like diving in head first?
Yeah.
Companies that are maybe taking a more cautious approach. Are there companies in New York that are kind of helping those companies?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a company called Cake. It's based in Brooklyn, and they're tackling this challenge of making AI innovations more accessible for companies that maybe don't have a lot of technical expertise. So their platform provides these pre-integrated and production-ready versions of open source AI innovations.
So it's kind of like they're providing the building blocks.
Exactly.
To make it easier to incorporate AI without having to like build everything from scratch.
Exactly. Yeah, they're trying to lower that barrier to entry.
I like that.
Democratize access to these powerful AI tools.
That's AI for everyone. I like that. Okay. What's an example of AI being used for social good?
Yeah, so there's a great example. It's a company called Energy Hub, and they're using AI to create a greener, more efficient energy grid.
So AI can be used to like fight climate change.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So they work with electric utilities to transform these everyday devices, like smart thermostats or electric vehicles, into virtual power plants.
Virtual power plants. Okay, what's a virtual power plant?
It's like a network of devices all working together to manage energy consumption.
So instead of like, relying on these massive power plants, we can use AI to distribute energy more intelligently from a bunch of smaller sources.
Yeah, exactly. And their AI algorithms can predict energy demand, they can optimize device behavior, and even help integrate renewable energy sources. It's really innovative.
Wow. It's really interesting to see all the ways that AI can be applied. It's not just limited to one industry or one problem.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so, I mean, give me another example. What's another exciting company that's out there in this New York AI scene?
Yeah, so there's a company called Pathways, and they're trying to make manufacturing more sustainable. So traditionally, tracking the environmental impact of manufacturing, it was really time consuming. It was all manual, lots of paperwork.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a logistical nightmare.
Exactly. So Pathways, they've developed this AI-powered technology that can automatically analyze a manufacturer's data. And then they can generate reports on their emissions, in real time.
Wow.
So it's taking this complex data and giving companies the information they need to reduce their impact.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready for another one. Give me another example.
All right. So there's Playback Health. And they're addressing this really big problem in healthcare, which is communication. So, doctors spend so much time documenting and doing paperwork, and it takes away from time with patients.
Right. I've heard that's a really big issue.
It is. So Playback Health, they created this platform that uses AI to record, transcribe, and analyze conversations between doctors and patients.
Interesting.
It's like a super-powered note taker.
So the AI is capturing all the details, And then the doctors can generate those accurate clinical notes
Exactly.
without having to like stop the flow of conversation.
Yeah. They can focus on the patient, not the paperwork.
Right.
And then the AI can even help identify potential issues or follow-up actions.
Wow.
So it's improving patient care.
It's almost like having like a second set of eyes and ears in the exam room.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, what about in the financial sector?
Yeah.
Are there any companies, that are doing really interesting things with AI in that industry?
Yeah. So there's a company called Rogo, and they're all about helping financial analysts, those folks who are known for working incredibly long hours.
Yeah.
So their AI can automate all those really repetitive, time-consuming tasks.
Okay.
Data processing, report generation. So analysts can focus on the more, strategic and creative parts of their job.
So it's not about replacing, it's about augmenting.
Right.
Yeah. It's great. Well, what about the use of AI for scientific research? Are there any companies that you're aware of in New York that are doing that?
Yeah. So there's a company called Synavia Oncology, and they're using AI to develop new cancer treatments. So, finding the right molecules to target specific cancer cells has always been incredibly complex and time-consuming.
Yeah, I mean, that's an area where even a small breakthrough can have a huge impact on people's lives.
Exactly. And their AI can analyze these massive amounts of data to identify the most promising drug candidates.
Okay.
So it's speeding up that drug discovery process, potentially leading to faster breakthroughs.
That's amazing. Well, what about are there any companies that are using AI in a way that's maybe a little bit more unexpected, like in an industry you wouldn't necessarily think of?
Yeah. So there's a company called SXD, and they're using AI to revolutionize the fashion industry.
Okay, so AI in fashion.
Yeah.
What's the connection there?
So they've created this AI technology that can design clothing patterns with zero waste.
Zero waste.
Yeah.
So like no leftover fabric.
No leftover scraps. Yeah. So, the fashion industry, they generate a tremendous amount of waste.
Right.
So their AI optimizes the layout of the patterns to minimize the fabric that's used.
Yeah. So again, it's using AI to kind of find these solutions to problems that have been around for a long time.
Absolutely.
And it's doing it in a way that's sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So as we're going through these different examples, I mean, I'm starting to notice a pattern here. All these companies are based in New York.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
No, it can't be. New York has the talent, it has the resources, it has that, that creative energy. It's like the city itself is breeding this innovation in the AI space.
And with companies like BetaWorks and FirstMark investing in these startups, I mean, the future looks really bright for New York's AI scene.
Yeah, I mean, they're not just providing funding, they're building a community, right? So you've got this network for AI entrepreneurs to thrive.
So, they say it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it takes a village to build a revolution.
It does.
Yeah. Well, it's great to talk about all these companies and all these, these startups that are kind of popping up, but we have to remember that these are built by people.
Yeah.
These are people with ideas and dreams.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're seeing this new generation of AI professionals.
Right.
And it's not just your typical, computer science grads. I mean, it's attracting people from all sorts of different backgrounds, and that's really exciting.
Well, tell me about some of these people. Like, who are they? What are their stories?
So, there's Andrew Lamb.
Okay.
Grew up in Queens.
Oh, nice. Local.
And he's an AI prompt engineer at a company called Daily Human. And they're using AI to help sports coaches teach mental skills. So things like confidence, resilience, mindfulness.
So it's not just about physical training.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's about like the mental game as well.
It's the mental game.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And he studied computer science at John Jay College, so part of CUNY.
Okay.
And then he got involved with the data science fellowship at CUNY Tech Prep. So he was getting hands-on experience, in AI and data analysis. And that led him to an internship at Daily Human through the NYC Startup Internship Program.
Okay.
So it's a great example of how New York is creating these pathways for people from diverse backgrounds,
Get into this field.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm ready for another one.
All right. So there's Jonathan Frankel.
Okay.
He's the chief AI scientist at Databricks. And he's got his PhD in artificial intelligence. He actually co-founded his own AI startup.
Oh, wow.
Called Mosaic ML. Oh. And that was acquired by Databricks for $1.3 billion.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, and his team at Databricks is heavily based in New York City. So, he's not just leading AI innovation, but he's bringing those jobs and expertise to New York. So it's proof that, you don't have to be in Silicon Valley.
Right. Okay, I'm loving these.
To make a big impact.
Keep them coming.
All right. So Kennedy Smith.
Okay.
She's a research intern at Microsoft Research, and she's really passionate about using AI for good.
Okay.
So she's developing new AI workflows and testing them with real users, and she's focusing on, how AI can improve communication, connect people from different backgrounds.
So she's really thinking about the human impact.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And how we can use it to bring people together.
That's right. And she's also involved in advising organizations like Girls Who Code, on how to integrate AI into their programs.
So not only is she doing, cutting edge research, but she's also helping to train the next generation.
Exactly. And she got her start, by participating in a coding camp for Black girls called Indeed We Code.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to see where, to see these people come from and where they're going with this technology.
Absolutely.
So who's next?
All right. Let's talk about Lutong Zhou. He is a senior machine learning scientist at Apple.
Oh, wow. Apple. Okay.
Yeah. And he leads the research and development of personalized recommendations and large language model features.
Okay.
So think about those personalized suggestions you get on your iPhone or the cool features that are powered by Siri. His team is behind a lot of that.
Wow. Okay. So he found success in AI without having to leave New York City.
Yeah, he built his entire career here.
That's great. Okay. Give me another one. Who else you got?
All right. Last but definitely not least, we have Mei Li. She's a software engineer at Warner Bros. Discovery. And she's using AI to help distribute Max's content to international audiences. So, think about all those recommendations you get on streaming services,
right,
or the subtitles that are generated automatically.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, AI is playing a huge role in that. And her journey is a great example of how AI is attracting people from all sorts of different backgrounds. So she started as a data analyst at Pfizer. Then she moved into technology strategy at JP Morgan Chase. And then finally, she landed at Warner Bros. Discovery.
Wow.
Yeah.
So all of these diverse experiences have kind of come together to shape her career.
Exactly. It shows there's no one right path into AI.
So all of these people, they seem to be part of a larger movement that's happening in New York City. It's not just about, individual companies or individuals.
I mean, it's a collective effort.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So what are some of the, the organizations that are kind of helping to push this movement forward?
Yeah, so, I mean, you've got organizations like Breakthrough Tech, Day of AI, Girls Who Code, Mouse.org. I mean, they're all working to make AI, more accessible and inclusive.
Okay, let's break it down a little bit. So
Yep.
What are those organizations actually doing? What's their focus?
So Breakthrough Tech,
Right.
It's an initiative of Cornell Tech
Okay.
that focuses on women, empowering women in tech,
Okay.
and particularly in fields like AI. So they provide training, mentorship, and then, connections to professional opportunities.
Okay, so they're trying to address that gender gap that we see in tech.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, what about Day of AI?
Yeah, so Day of AI is all about introducing K through 12 students to AI. So they do that through these hands-on activities, curriculum, and the programs are designed to be accessible to, students of all backgrounds.
Okay.
And all abilities.
So getting them excited about AI early on.
Yeah, it's about sparking that interest.
Right. Okay. What about Girls Who Code?
Yeah, so they're a global nonprofit that's working to close that gender gap in tech.
Okay.
They've been around since 2012. They've reached, hundreds of thousands of students, and they're showing girls that they can be creators in tech, not just consumers.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
All right, what about Mouse.org?
Yeah, so Mouse.org, they started by bringing internet access to New York City public schools.
Oh, wow.
But they've really evolved to focus on preparing students for STEM careers.
Okay.
Including AI. So they have this program it's the AI Design League. Middle and high school students work on real world AI projects.
Oh, wow. So they're not just learning about it.
No.
In theory, they're actually, like, getting involved.
Hands-on.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they also provide professional development for teachers so that they can bring AI concepts into the classroom.
Okay, so it's this multi-pronged approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any other organizations that are doing similar work?
Yeah, for sure. So, the New York Hall of Science, or NYSCI, is doing some really interesting work.
Okay.
They're a hands-on science center in Queens, and they've been working with AI researchers, educators, to develop programs that make AI accessible. They have a youth fellowship program where high school and college students can learn about AI and develop their own, public engagement activities.
So they're becoming like AI ambassadors.
Exactly. Yeah. And they also host events. So, things like STEM career nights where students and their families can learn about, different career paths in AI.
That's great. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like New York is really creating this really amazing, vibrant ecosystem for AI education and workforce development. But I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. And that is the impact of AI on jobs.
Oh.
I mean, we've touched on it a little bit, but I think we need to explore this a little bit deeper.
Yeah. I mean, it's a valid concern.
Absolutely.
And it's something we need to discuss openly.
Right.
AI is going to change the way we work.
Right.
Some jobs will be displaced. I mean, that's just the reality.
Yeah.
But the report that we've been talking about, it also says that AI is going to create new jobs.
Right.
And it's going to augment existing jobs. So it's not just about job losses.
Right.
It's about, job transformation. Right. So, how do we navigate this? What does this mean for the average New Yorker?
Yeah, what does it mean?
I mean, it's all about adaptability.
Okay.
And being proactive. The jobs of the future, they're going to require different skills.
Right.
So it's up to us to prepare ourselves.
So what are some of those skills, though? What are some of the things that people can be focusing on?
So, I mean, things like critical thinking, problem-solving skills. In the AI world specifically, we're going to need people who can analyze data, identify patterns, make decisions based on AI insights. And then, of course, you've got the technical skills, programming, machine learning, data science. Those are in high demand. Right. So how do people get started? Well, we've already talked about those organizations. But, there's tons of online courses, boot camps, things like that. And of course, New York is home to, some of the best universities in the world.
Right.
Many of which offer these programs. Right. So from CUNY to Columbia, NYU, Cornell Tech, I mean, there's no shortage of great places to learn.
So it's really about taking advantage of those resources.
Yeah, and being open to constantly learning. Right.
So, as an individual, I mean, what are some concrete steps that I can take to make sure that I'm prepared for this future? What's the first step?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first step is just do your research, explore the different tools and technologies, figure out what interests you, get a feel for the landscape, then, start building your skills. Yeah. Take some courses, attend workshops, play around with some free AI tools.
Well, it's because the best way to learn is by doing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one thing to read about it, but it's another thing to actually use it.
Right.
And then don't forget to network.
Right.
Attend AI meetups, connect with people in the industry, learn from their experiences. The AI community in New York is really vibrant and supportive.
So it sounds like there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah. I mean, and the best part is it's not just about the tech industry. AI is going to touch every part of our lives, from healthcare and finance to education and entertainment.
So no matter what your background or your interest is, there's a place for you in all of this.
Totally.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's like New York is saying, hey, this is happening. We want you to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I mean, let's leave the listener with something to think about. We've talked about, the economic potential of AI, the potential impact on jobs, the efforts to, make sure it's used responsibly. But what about the less tangible aspects of this? Like, how might AI change our society?
Yeah.
Our culture?
Oh, wow.
Like our very way of life.
Now you're getting philosophical.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the technology, it's about humanity.
Right.
And as we're kind of going further down this road, we need to be mindful of the impact it's going to have on us.
Yeah.
So in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to delve deeper into those questions. But for now, we want to hear from you.
Yeah, picking up on that last point about like the societal impact of AI, it's really interesting to see how the conversation is kind of changing, Like at first it was all about like the economic stuff, but now we're starting to think about the deeper questions.
Yeah, it's like we're going beyond the what of AI and really exploring the why and the how.
Exactly.
Yep.
And as we go deeper into these questions, it becomes clear that the conversation about AI is really a conversation about us, about what it means to be human.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thought. It makes me wonder, like, are there any specific areas where you see this intersection of AI and humanity playing out in New York?
Well, one area that comes to mind is the art world. Traditionally, art has been seen as this purely human thing, right? This realm of creativity and expression that machines just couldn't touch.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, the idea of a computer creating art just feels, I don't know, a little bit unsettling.
Yeah, for sure. But that's starting to change. We're seeing artists both in New York and around the world, experimenting with AI as a creative tool, using it to generate new forms of expression, to explore new ideas.
So instead of replacing artists, AI is actually kind of expanding the possibilities of what art can be.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. It's like a collaboration, a partnership, between human creativity and artificial intelligence.
I really like that idea.
Yeah.
Do you have any like specific examples of artists in New York who are doing this, who are using AI in their work?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a collective called the AI Artists Guild. They're based right here in New York. And it's a group of, artists, technologists, researchers, and they're all exploring this intersection of art and AI and really pushing the boundaries. I mean, some of them are using AI to generate these entirely new forms of visual art, images, sculptures, things that have never been seen before. Others are using AI to create these interactive installations, things that respond to the viewer's presence, to their emotions. And then others are using AI to explore new ways of storytelling, creating these narratives that blur the lines between reality and fiction.
Wow. So it sounds like a whole new art movement is emerging, and AI is kind of the fuel behind it.
Exactly. And New York, with its incredible art scene and its love of innovation, it's at the forefront of this movement.
This is really exciting. But I have to ask, what about the concerns that some people have about AI and creativity? Like is there a fear that AI will somehow devalue human creativity, make art less meaningful?
I mean, it's an understandable concern, but I think it's important to remember that AI is just a tool, right? Just like a paintbrush or a musical instrument. It's how we use that tool that really matters.
So it's not about AI replacing human creativity. It's more about augmenting it, giving artists new tools to kind of play with.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, it's the human artist who's making the creative decisions, right? Who's guiding the AI, who's giving the work meaning.
That makes sense. It's like AI can help us to see the world in new ways, to imagine things that maybe we couldn't have imagined on our own, but it's still up to us to decide what those new visions mean.
Exactly. And I think that's what's so exciting about this moment in time. We're at the beginning of this new era of creativity, and it's an era where the lines between human and machine are becoming really blurred.
It's a little bit like stepping into the unknown, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't really know where it's going to lead, but it's exciting to think about the possibilities. But before we get too carried away with AI and art, let's bring it back to New York City. We've talked about, education and workforce development, but what about the role of government in all this? How is the city government actually supporting this growth of the AI industry?
That's a great question. And the New York City government has actually been really proactive in supporting the industry. In fact, back in 2021, they launched the NYC AI strategy.
Okay.
It's a really comprehensive plan.
All right. So what are some of the key components of this strategy? What are they focusing on?
So it's got several key pillars, right?
Yeah.
So investing in AI research and development, supporting AI education, workforce development, and promoting the ethical and responsible use of AI.
So it's not just, throwing money at research projects.
Right.
It's thinking about the whole ecosystem
Yeah, yeah, it's about creating the right environment for AI companies, attracting, the best talent.
Right.
And making sure that the benefits of AI are shared across all communities.
Yeah. It sounds like they're really taking this holistic approach, understanding that it's not just about the technology, but it's also about, the people and the communities and the ethics.
Exactly. And the city is also working to make sure that AI is used to address some of the biggest challenges facing New York. So, improving transportation, reducing crime, making healthcare more affordable.
So it's not just about, making money. It's about making New York a better place to live.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes New York different. There's a sense that AI is not just a tool for profit, it's a tool for social good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that resonates with a lot of New Yorkers, this idea of social activism and making the city better for everybody. Well, but speaking of challenges, we talked about, the potential impact of AI on jobs. What are some of the specific jobs that are most likely to be affected by AI, and what can people do to kind of prepare for that shift?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, the truth is AI is going to automate a lot of tasks that humans are doing right now.
Right.
And that's going to affect, all sorts of jobs, from manufacturing to transportation to healthcare, finance. I mean, you name it.
It's a little bit daunting to think about, but it's something we have to kind of face head on.
Yeah. And the key is to be adaptable, and to focus on those skills that are harder for AI to replicate.
Okay, so what are some of those skills? I mean, what are some things that people can start, developing now?
So creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence, the ability to work effectively in teams. These are things that machines aren't very good at yet.
Right.
And they're going to be essential, in a world where AI is playing a bigger and bigger role.
So it's not just about, learning to code. It's about developing those uniquely human skills.
Exactly. And I think that's a really important message. It's easy to get caught up in all the cool things that AI can do, but we have to remember it's a tool.
Right.
And it's up to us to use it, wisely and ethically.
It's not a solution. It's something that can help us find solutions.
Absolutely. And as we move forward, we need to have this conversation about how we want to use AI, what values we want to embed in it, how do we make sure it benefits everybody.
Right. And it sounds like New York, with its diversity, its tech sector, its, commitment to social justice, it's well positioned to lead that conversation.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, New York has always been a place where different cultures and ideas come together. And I think that diversity of thought is going to be really important as we figure out, how to navigate all of this.
It's exciting to think about the potential that AI has to shape the future of New York, of the world.
For sure.
But I think it's important to remember that the future isn't predetermined. It's something that we create.
That's a great point. The future of AI is not something that's just going to happen. It's something that we're all going to build together.
I love that. It's empowering. But speaking of building the future, we've talked about, established companies, startups, but what about the next generation of AI innovators? Where are they coming from? And how are they being prepared to kind of lead the charge in this exciting new field?
Well, we've already talked about some amazing organizations that are doing great work in introducing young people to AI and STEM fields in general, like Breakthrough Tech, Day of AI, Girls Who Code, Mouse.org.
Yeah, those are really important initiatives. But what about higher education? What role are universities playing in preparing students for these careers?
Yeah, universities are playing a huge role. A lot of universities here in New York are actually they're at the forefront of this whole AI research and education thing. I mean, they've got cutting edge programs. They're attracting some of the best minds in the field.
So can you give us some specific examples of universities that are really leading the way in AI education?
Yeah, for sure. So Columbia University, for example, they have the Data Science Institute, and it's known all over the world. They offer all sorts of programs in AI, machine learning, data science, and they're really big on research too. I mean, their faculty are working on some groundbreaking stuff in areas like, computer vision, natural language processing, robotics.
Wow. So Columbia is really like a powerhouse then.
Oh, absolutely.
Are there other universities that are doing similar work?
Yeah, tons. NYU, their Center for Data Science is another leader. They offer, a really well-respected master's program in data science, and they have like these specialized courses in AI and machine learning as well. And they're really focused on working with industry, so connecting students with real projects and internships at all the top AI companies.
So it sounds like NYU is really focused on making sure that students are ready to actually hit the ground running when they graduate.
Yeah. Practical experience, that's key.
For sure. Any other universities we should have on our radar?
Yeah, Cornell Tech. I mean, it's right here on Roosevelt Island, and they've got this really, unique kind of interdisciplinary approach to tech education. They bring together students from all these different areas, like, computer science, business, law, design, and they all work together on these projects that are addressing real world problems.
Well, it's not just about the hard technical skills. It's also about understanding how this technology can be applied in a way that actually makes a difference.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, and I think that's one of the most exciting things about the AI scene here in New York. You've got this mix of academic excellence and industry innovation and this real desire to use AI to make things better. It's a powerful combination.
It sounds like New York is really becoming a magnet for AI talent.
Oh, absolutely.
But I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the future. We've talked about the economic potential, the challenges, the opportunities, the ethics. But what's next? What are some of the key trends that we should be watching out for in the years to come?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think one of the biggest things we're going to see is this continued, democratization of AI. The tools and technologies, they're becoming easier to use. They're becoming cheaper. So that means more people, more organizations are going to be able to use them.
So AI is moving beyond like the big tech companies,
Exactly. And we're already seeing this, right? I mean, you've got these no-code AI platforms, all these open source tools and libraries. I mean, that trend is just gonna keep going. It means AI is gonna be more available to small businesses, startups, nonprofits, everyday people.
That's amazing. I mean, think about, what people will be able to do with that. So what are some other trends that you're kind of seeing on the horizon?
Another one is this focus on AI explainability and transparency. As AI gets more powerful, as it gets more complex, we need to be able to understand how it works.
Yeah.
Why it makes the decisions it makes. And this is especially important in fields like healthcare or finance or criminal justice, where the decisions that AI makes can have a real impact.
Right. We can't just blindly trust these systems. Right.
No. And that's why we're seeing a lot of people working on creating AI systems that are more transparent, more explainable.
So it's not just about building AI that works. It's about building AI that we can trust.
Exactly. Trust is essential. Yeah. And that means building systems that are not just accurate, they're not just efficient, they're also fair. They're unbiased. Right. They're accountable.
Yeah. Okay, so any other predictions? Anything else you're kind of seeing out there?
Yeah. I mean, another area that's gonna be huge is AI in personalized medicine, in healthcare. I mean, we're already using it to develop drugs and diagnose diseases and personalized treatment plans.
Yeah, I mean, the potential there is incredible.
It is. And New York is, it's a real center for healthcare innovation.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see some really amazing stuff.
I'm excited to see it. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to come back to something that we talked about a little bit earlier. And that is the human element of all of this. We can get so focused on the algorithms, the data sets, the technology, that we forget that AI is ultimately a tool.
Yeah.
It's built by humans. It's for humans.
Right. It's easy to lose sight of that, and on all the excitement.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think as we kind of move forward, we need to keep that in mind. We need to think about how can we use AI to empower people? How can we use it to create a more just and equitable society? How can we use it to foster creativity and innovation?
Yeah. I mean, those are the questions we need to be asking.
Right.
I mean, AI has the potential to be this incredible force for good in the world, but it's on us. It's up to us to make sure that it's used wisely.
Right. And I think these conversations, where we bring together all these different perspectives and really explore these complex issues, that's how we're going to navigate this.
Absolutely. It's all about dialogue and collaboration and this shared, commitment to using AI in the right way.
So, to our listener, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What are your hopes? What are your concerns about the future of AI? Share your ideas with us. This conversation is just getting started. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into New York City's AI advantage. Hopefully you learned a few things.
Yeah, it's been great exploring this with you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
See you on the next deep dive.